Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is my Around the Fire Pt.14 LUFENIA. This is Gladio's mission, also where Sabin was also on one of the banners. And with these bosses here, you'll see I start off with a Metatilian, because the bosses, when you first start this match, you're not going to do any damage. You're going to be hitting ones, as you can see Terra does here, because they have massive defenses. So a Metatilian brings in his gravity-based call, and then once you break the enemy, it breaks the defense, and now you can start doing damage. So that's how I end up opening up here. And then Fujin is for the wind enchant to the party, because you'll see here that B's orb is already at 2. The orb requirement is for you to do 2 things. Number 1, you have to delay the enemy. And then once you delay the enemy, you have to delay them or hit them with elemental weakness at the same time to be able to make the orb go up by 8. So as you can see here, Bartz doesn't delay, although he's doing wind damage. Since he didn't delay B, the orb is going to stay where it is. So now with Garland being a delayer and having the wind enchant, now you'll see that the orb is going to go up. So it should go up to, there it went up to 16, it went up to 18. And that's how you take care of the orb. So it doesn't have to be wind damage. I believe it could be any type of element, as long as, again, you're delaying while doing elemental weakness damage. I brought in Garland, obviously for the delay. Obviously, he's a good damage dealer, but he's here for the delaying, trying to help take care of the orb. Terra is just here for some damage, and then Bartz is here for numerous different reasons. With these enemies, they're going to keep going into that defensive mode, and then it's like a defensive posture, and I think it's at 60 at the start of battle at 69% and 39%. So you're gonna have to lower down their brave, break them, and then now you can start doing damage. The only issue is that you can't hit them. I mean, you can hit them, but the problem is you're gonna be hitting for ones. So the only way to really bring down that brave is through gravity or ignoring the defense. So they're trying to also sell you on pulling for Sabin here, because he does ignore enemy defense. So there's a few characters that have that in their kits, and I think Noel might be one as well, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't get to pull for Noel, but that's going to be the way that you're going to be able to break them. If they have high defenses and you're hitting for ones, but your character ignores defense, like Sabin, then you'll be able to break and continuously do damage. The other way is bringing a gravity-based character, and for those that might not know what gravity is, it's pretty much when you're not hitting the enemy, and it's more like, think about it as a power that just completely lowers down the brave to a certain amount. Instead of hitting them every single time, it says, like for example, Ultimecia, it brings down the brave by so much. That's gravity based, and that's what Bartz brings to this team. Is his LD has it's a gravity based move where he first reduces all of the enemies brave down to 0, and then he does a 6-hit AoE brave split HP attack. And so now that the brave's at 0, he's gonna break them on the next on that move, and now you're able to continuously do damage with Garland and Terra. These guys still have an insane amount of defense, even when you bring them out of that defensive posture. So you're still gonna have to put maybe like a Jack call on them, bring Kurasame, Ferris, things like that. And once you do that, you should be good. Now Bartz, aside from the gravity, aside from making them also weak to like wind damage, he has really good party auras. So he ends up giving the party even just with his good luck charm, he's giving the party HP damage plus 20%, splash damage plus 30%, DRE damage plus 40%, and that's to himself, and then to the party it's attack 35%, brave damage 20%, things like that. So the party totals end up being like 100% attack, 55% max brave, 20% brave damage. So he's providing a lot of auras to the party to allow you to hit harder, while also you're trying to lower down the defense with calls and things like that. Here I do substitute Terra for Garland because, or the friend unit Garland, because Garland's PT is going to provide better auras than what Terra gives, which is I think absolutely nothing to the party. And I didn't get to pull Terra's burst, unfortunately, and so here that's the reason I substitute Terra for the Garland friend unit. So you'll see that here my Garland's is hitting hard. Everybody's gonna be hitting hard. The only thing that Bartz really doesn't do is do a lot of damage, but I think that his kit is still extremely powerful. And other than that, yeah, the characters you could bring would be like calls, for example, that you could bring would be like Ultimisia for her gravity. You could bring Hexdeath and Metatilian, and then enchanters. You could bring, for example, like Ash and Paladin Cecil, Kurasame. Instead of having Fujin as a call, you can also bring in Fujin, Dash, things like that. I think Raijin as well, because I think he gives you, not only does he have the paralyze, but he also right off the bat I think gives your party Thunder Enchant once he uses EX. But he's not doing a lot of damage, so I'm not sure how that's going to work out. And I think he also has heals, so I would think that maybe you could also use Raijin as well. And damage dealers here, you could do Core as well. Core, I just used them on the last LUFENIA. Core is extremely good. I know that he would make this fight a lot easier as well, because I think he cannot be broken through one of his buffs. And Terra or Tifa would be good here as well. The enemies don't have to take a turn, so you could technically bring Sephiroth. If you bring a Sephiroth unit plus a friend unit and you use that burst to try to delay them forever, that's another strategy that you could use as well. And then you'll see it, the little light in the middle of these characters went from blue to green, and then it goes from green to red depending on how much HP is left. Once they start getting into the green, especially in the red, they're going to start doing a lot of HP damage attacks. So so yeah, you don't want them, if you can, try to not let them attack. That's been kind of like the norm, I guess, the last few LUFENIAs, is just don't let them attack. So the last few LUFENIAs I think have been somewhat simple. Aside from, what is it, Invaders, what is it, Invaders of something? Invaders of Lossy or something like that? That one was just, yeah, that one was rough. But other than that, I'm going to save Fujin's call for when I need it. At this point, none of the Garlands are hitting for elemental damage. Fujin's call has already gone away quite some time ago. And then also, I brought in Shiva here, the Shiva summon, because I was having some trouble with this party in the beginning, as far as their turns being ahead of the enemies. Like, the enemies were just taking consecutive turns sometimes in the beginning, and I had to keep resetting. So bringing in Shiva kind of took care of that. There's really no other reason that she's in here for, to be honest with you. It's just for that speed up. And then I'm gonna decide to use Bartz BT, because again, it's about, if you can tell, their defenses are pretty high. I mean, I do have a substantial amount of debuffs on them, but they are still my characters are not hitting as hard as I would like them to. So here, just using Fusion's Call to re-enchant the party, and then going into the burst mode with Bartz would allow me to give the additional auras of about attack up about 30%, max brave 30% to the party. This is on Bart's first effect, and it lasts for 8 turns. And then also it increases BRV damage by 30%, damage limit by 20%, HP damage, and brave gain. As soon as I believe you're done doing an attack, you gain brave based on 50% of the HP damage dealt. So it's also going to keep the party safe. Aside from all the other auras that he's already given the party through his adventurous spirit and his world traveler. World traveler alone grants the party plus 60% attack and overflow. So I think it was better to have used Bartz here instead of Garland, just to ensure that Garland hits harder. I'm not sure if that was the best move or not, but it still works out. Other than that, yeah, you could try to tank these guys. So for example, like Gladio, Warrior of Light, Galif 9, and even I think it was Porum. Porum has Last Stand, and I know that Porum I think gives Last Stand to the party, if I'm not mistaken. So even when these guys are hitting you, Porum is going to allow you to survive that. You can re-heal back up and then just keep going at it. So that's another way that you can get through these guys as well. I'm not sure. I think that I tried Gladio, but I think one of their attacks is like double HP dumps or something like that. So I think that they were taking out my my Gladiolus, but maybe I was doing something wrong. I don't know. This team ended up working out, obviously, and I think that also bringing in like an Odin summon would be great. Remember, it's just about lowering these guys' defense as much as possible. You're gonna find yourself, if you're not debuffing these guys and having some type of aura body in your party, I think you're gonna have a hard time potentially with these guys. Then Cloud of Darkness as well. Cloud of Darkness and Core, I think, are two characters that will help you tremendously with this fight. Because again, you just want to deal damage, and you'll see that here. I mean, now their light is red, which means it's going to be almost like guaranteed HP attacks, more frequent HP attacks, and they also are going to regenerate Brave here when they have this red, when they're in the red color. But you see everybody's hitting extremely hard. I think again, if you're using Core, in your team, and then you have like a Cloud of Darkness friend unit, and then you also have like an Odin summon, for example, stuff like that. This should be pretty simple. I don't know. I guess I just decided to go with this team here because I would think that at this point it's kind of like a given to use Core and Cloud of Darkness, but I did want to try this out. Or this team out right here. I mean, it worked. Wasn't the most efficient. I mean, I know that there's people doing runs where they're only taking they're like less than 10 turns without Noctis friend unit, or Noctis in the party, or friend unit, or anything like that. So there's a way to complete this with a lot less turns, but I think that turn count on this one is pretty generous. It's only, I mean, it's 90 turn counts. And as you can see here, I mean, B's almost already dead, and I'm barely at 45, so I'm barely halfway through the orb count, or through the turn count. It's not too bad, to be honest with you. It's they don't have I guess a mechanic that is I guess like super annoying, because there's so many gravity, I think, based characters that are out there, and also characters, there's a few characters that do ignore defense, and if you did again pull for Sabin, you're gonna have a pretty easy time getting through these guys, because he's gonna ignore that defense, break them, and then allow your party to continuously do damage. And you see that also one benefit too is just taking out, maybe if you wanted to take out one of the characters or one of the enemies and then work on the other one. The only problem with that though is that if you don't have an enchanter in your party, kind of like I don't have here, Bartz doesn't enchant until later on when he comes back and has like, I guess, a slight little rework or whatever. But the issue is that if I would have eliminated one of the enemy characters first, when let's say if I would have eliminated B and A still has half health, I probably wouldn't have been able to defeat A in time, because the orb would have probably counted down because I have no more enchant calls, or I don't have any enchant characters on my team. So here you do kind of have to work at chipping down both enemies' damage with those calls, while at least while those calls are active. But other than that, my Bartz is still missing a passive artifact. And yeah, good luck to you guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for new content. Also, let me know in the comment section what you think about this mission and who you used to complete it. Check the links in the description for Opera Omnia websites that give you a bunch of helpful information, and I'll see you on the next one.